Donna, right off the bat, Officer Porter addressed the state allegation that he did not follow protocol on the day of Freddie Gray's arrest. As Porter took the stand in his own defense, his attorney asked him, "Why didn't you call for a medic?" Porter's answer, "Because after talking to Freddie Gray, he was unable to give me a reason for a medical emergency. I saw no external injuries." "Why didn't you seatbelt him in?" Porter's response, "Where my gun is holstered makes doing that unsafe. I have never seatbelted a detainee." Porter's initial calm, confident demeanor contrasted with some testy exchanges during cross-examination, and prosecutors pointed out inconsistencies between his previous statements to an internal affairs detective and his testimony on the stand. Prosecutors asked Porter why he told the jury that Gray assisted him with his legs when he helped him off the floor of the van during the fourth stop, but didn't say that to investigators. Porter said he thought he was talking as a witness and not a suspect when he made his internal affairs statement.
You've got two different sets of statements at different times, and whenever that takes place, the defense needs to convince the jury that they ought to believe what Officer Porter said in the courtroom, not so much what he said to the detectives.
Legal analyst Doug Colbert predicts that if the jury accepts Porter's testimony on the stand, they'll likely find him not guilty. The last witness of the day was Officer Zachary Novak, a fellow Western District officer who witnessed Gray's initial arrest and called a medic at the Western District station. He said that more often than not, prisoners aren't seatbelted in wagons, and that he didn't know about the seatbelt protocol email on April 12th, the day of Gray's arrest. I asked Colbert about the possibility of success for "it might have been the rule, but I didn't know about it" defense.
The prosecution must prove that Officer Porter was aware of a policy, of a practice, of a rule, and disregarded it. So the prosecution's case will say, "We trained Officer Porter to seatbelt and protect prisoners. He took it on his own not to do it."
And so another point here, Porter testified today that Gray did not tell him that he couldn't breathe, but prosecutors say that that contradicts his previous statement to investigators. Court starts back up tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. We're live at Courthouse East. Kai Reed, WBAL TV 11 News.
Kai, thank you. Well, attorneys also called a nationally recognized forensic pathologist to the stand in William Porter's defense. They questioned Dr. Vincent DeMeo in hopes of disputing the findings of the assistant state medical examiner. DeMeo testified that Gray's spinal cord injury was the result of a single catastrophic event and that he would not have been able to talk after it happened. He also testified that it must have happened later than the prosecution claims based on that evidence. Legal expert Dwight Pettit says when it comes down to is who is more believable to the jury.
The defense is now saying he was not injured at that point in time. Then that begins to corroborate Porter in terms of his observations, that he might have articulated one thing, but his perception was obviously that he was not in a degree of emergency.
DeMeo did agree with prosecutors that Gray's death could have been prevented if he had been wearing a seatbelt. And of course, we have team coverage on the trial and any developments that might happen. Friday night, we hope you'll join us for an 11 News special, breaking down what has happened this week in the trial and what it means for both sides. That's at 7:30 p.m. this Friday night.